Live in this icicle filled day, this very wintry, cold, icy day. We are still going live on the show tonight, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be at least we hope it's going to be fun, right? Like, that's the goal and that's the intention, is we want to have a very fun-filled show tonight. I see a lot of comments. A lot of people are asking. Let's see, Carl, the Cat Dunn, says, has everyone got thawed out yet on YouTube? Speaking of YouTube, we'll be talking about that in just a second. Chase on Facebook Live says, gumbo season, let's roll. Yeah, man, this weekend I cooked a pot of chili, and so that was pretty good. Dylan Landry says, veggie soup in the Landry house tonight. You know, man, I was thinking about lighting up some bourbon tonight. You know, bourbon will really warm you up. It will. Well, we got a good show in store for you guys and girls anyway. Before we get started, as always, guys, we greatly appreciate our partners over at Believe Podcast, as our podcast is sponsored by our friends over at eBay. That's right. I know that all of you know about eBay, and we greatly appreciate those partners of ours over there. And everyone, do us a favor as we are starting the show. Hit that like and share button. And also, we are pushing out our YouTube channel. We did a Saturday morning show, which got a lot of recognition. A lot of people liked our Saturday morning show, specifically on YouTube. So everybody listening and everybody watching us right now, after the show, go over to our YouTube channel, type in Are You Serious Sports, and hit that subscribe and notification bell. And we will be doing a giveaway for everybody that's subscribed to the YouTube channel. I think everybody's going to like the giveaway that we're going to do. Also, Jalen Collins is going to be joining the show. Former LSU DB Jalen Collins is going to be joining the show. I guess about 14 minutes. About 14 minutes, LSU is going to start the show. We're going to talk about the LSU Fighting Tigers basketball team getting a huge win against Tennessee. We talked about that Saturday on the YouTube show. But we'll talk about that more. Maybe they can get some things rolling. We do have some, I don't know if everybody's heard this yet because it's such a crazy day, but we do have some breaking news for the basketball team as it goes on. And also, we're going to talk a little bit about this LSU defense, as it's way too far. It feels like to talk about football, but it's never too late or too early to talk about football, right? Never is. All right, but before we get started, and we'll get into all of that, we'll get to all of your comments. We got to get over to our good friends over at GM Varnado & Sons. GM Varnado & Sons has faithfully been serving your Denham Springs and Baton Rouge area for over 62 years. With their highly trained technicians, there's absolutely nothing that they can't do. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, truck repair, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. Give them a call today at 225-664-9992. That's 225-664-9992. And tell them Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by. And I know that the weather is really bad, but that doesn't mean that next week you can't, and even today, you can't even call our good friend Mr. Richie Roche over at Roche's Lawn and Landscape. Guys, the weather's going to get better. Your lawn and your grass is going to need to get cut. And maybe be a good time to get some landscaping done before the season gets on to us and the spring season. Call Mr. Richie Roche today at 225-937-7220. That's 225-937-7220. And tell him your friend Blake Ruffino sent you on by. All right, let's get to a couple of these comments before we get into the show. As always, we can do the hashtag Ask Blake. We have a question here. I missed it. Yes, we are on our way to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. That is our goal. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I don't know what the giveaway is going to be. This time we did a $100 gift card giveaway. Mr. Harold Woods won the gift card giveaway last time. So we're going to be doing it. So I need everybody that's watching this now, if you haven't done so already, go to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Bear Granger Country says, it's cold outside. Man, it is cold outside. I took the garbage to the street. It's not like they're going to come pick it up tomorrow anyway, but it's cold out there, man. It's cold out there. Blaine Smith says, red beans and rice in my home tonight. I like it. What's everybody eating? Bear Granger says, my goat is not a happy camper today because of the cold. Your goat? Man, that's why we gave you the nickname Country. My man got him a pet. You got a pet goat inside Country? Yeah, you do. Colin Tibbler says, just finished eating some veggie soup I made last night. Killed it both nights. I love it. I love it. And Keith Walker says, we're eating some chili. I love that too. We had some this weekend. All right, Nicholas says, Ask Blake, I saw something about Eli Ricks saying that he was 100% staying at LSU to finish what he started. Have you heard anything regarding him? Yeah, we talked about this last week. We talked about Elias Ricks, and a lot of the rumors that were coming out about Elias Ricks have started to tamper down a little bit. That it looks like that Durante Jones and company, Ed Orgeron and company, and even people in Elias Ricks' camp has told him, hey, man, you're here, and you gotta finish out what you started. So Elias Ricks looks to, now that doesn't mean that crazy shit can't happen, but it looks like Elias Ricks is going to be staying at LSU. Blaine says, ask Blake, tell Blake drunker than a mug. I don't know what that means. Juice Washington, what's up, Juice? He says, ask Blake, do you see Sage as a star, as a day one starter? Juice, I think that you have to be a very special individual to be a day one starter. There's only a handful of individuals that I will ever say that I believe is a day one starter. That does not mean that Sage Ryan won't be a day one starter. But I think it's going to be tough for him to be a day one, like game one, UCLA. He's out there first snap. I mean, the last DB that we saw do that was Grant Delpit, right? I mean, like, we've had a lot of talented true freshmen. I mean, but a day one, walk in off the bus, get out your car, get your uniform, get your pads, day one starter. And as a DB, well, I guess you could say Derek Stingley. That's my fault. No, that's my fault. It was not Grant Delpit. I was thinking more of a safety. I mean, Derek Stingley was a day one starter. What was I thinking? That cold's getting to my brain. I don't know that, Juice. I think that Derek Davis Jr., the safety out of Pennsylvania, is another guy that a lot of people are liking. Let's get a couple more of these comments, and then we'll talk a little basketball, I guess, before we get to Mr. Jalen Collins. Lee says on Facebook Live he's eating some gumbo. Jambalaya, crawfish pie, filet gumbo. Justin asked on Facebook, who should start at both safety spots next football season? That's one hell of a question. I mean, you still do have Jordan Tolles. They love are falling in love with Derek Davis Jr., the safety out of Pennsylvania. You do have Mo Hampton, but Mo Hampton's playing baseball. I think that if there's a position that is more wide open than any, like just completely wide open, it's that safety position. Completely that safety position. Kirk Paul says going to be negative 22 to negative 30 degrees in Omaha tonight. Well, hopefully, as the baseball season is upon us, it will start to heat up. But, man, I can't deal with that, y'all. I can't deal with that shit. Don't give me the cold. All right, everybody joining the show, do us a favor by hitting the like and share. And do us a favor, as always, and as we're pushing it to our road to 1,000 subscribers, go over to our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube, type in RU Series Sports, and hit that subscribe and notification bell. Richard says, ask Blake, crawfish bisque here. I like it, Richard. I like it. My wife did this new pot roast tonight, which was really good. But don't tell her I said our cooking's good. Matt Daigle says, ask Blake, do you think this LSU basketball team is coming together now? It certainly feels that way. Look, I was a little critical Saturday morning on our YouTube show. I don't remember a time, and this might have been the first real game that Will Wade has had like this, where it was like an absolute must win. Saturday to me felt like a must win for Will Wade because of all the stuff that's going on with the investigation, all the stuff that we had to go through the offseason with the FBI investigation and everything, the documentary. There was just a lot that has come with Will Wade to continuously lose. Now, we've stuck up, this show, especially myself, we've stuck up for Will Wade. And we were there with Will Wade, and we were right there with him during the whole thing. But at some point, it kind of felt like that, hey, man, if we're going to stick with you, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but if we're going to stick with you, you can't keep getting your asses beat. But they came out and they proved a lot of people wrong. And I said this Saturday, and I'll repeat it for people that didn't watch us. I felt like the team goes as Javonte Smart goes. And I know Darius Days is a big deal too, and he is. LSU is, 6 or 7-0 this season when Darius Days scores more than double-digit points, or has more than double-digit points. So you got to get him involved, and you got to get him involved quickly. Javonte Smart, too, is coming up. So I think that they're coming together. I think that the lack that they don't have a big man is going to kill them down the stretch. Barrett Granger says, not inside on YouTube. He's talking about his goat. Says, not inside, but he does have his own little room with a heat lamp plus 20 chickens. Okay. David says, thank God Rick's staying 30 days of Facebook jail, so I'm here. Yeah, man, don't be playing with that Facebook jail. Justin on YouTube says, do you see Brian Thomas as a two-sport athlete, football and basketball? No, I don't. And I don't think that he's been offered basketball-wise either. No, I don't see him as a two-sport athlete. Jamar on Facebook Live says, ask Blake, when is spring practice starting? Anxious to see how this offense look. We don't have those numbers yet. We do not have those dates and everything. Matt Daigle says Todd Harris for a safety spot. Yeah, he could definitely play. He's going to play. I mean, a guy with that much experience, he's going to play. But there's been a lot of talk that, where he might be a safety, but he's going to be in the box. So what I can tell you is it looks like Todd Harris is going to move into the box, which will be very interesting for him. Look, Todd has had his struggles with tackling in space. He's had his struggles with in coverage, and he's really had struggles just doing basic alignment stuff. So it's got to be a huge, huge offseason for Todd Harris. I think he's got a lot of talent that's going to push him. A lot of talent. Cedric says, put a crack on that gumbo, dude. Put a crack on that gumbo. I don't know. Maybe this is something I'm missing here. Mr. Stocky on Facebook Live says, Will Wade has his team playing outstanding. The two last games, the Tigers have been maybe peaking at the right time. Second place in the conference boot up. Yeah, they're definitely peaking right now. They're definitely peaking. They still have issues with their inbounds passes. Like, definitely have issues. So we'll see as that continues to go on. David says, how is the weather supposed to be in the box this weekend? I haven't checked. I'm assuming it's going to be in the 40s. Hopefully it's not snowing and sleeting, or not snowing, but sleeting and all that kind of stuff. Because that'd be dreadful. Very, very dreadful. Okay, Mr. Jalen Collins, former LSU DB, Mr. Jalen Collins is going to be joining the show in about 3 minutes. So we're looking forward to having him. He had some big words to say this past week, some interesting words that I think that all LSU fans need to hear, and all LSU fans should hear. So we'll talk to him, and we'll talk about that. Robert on Facebook Live says, ask Blake, who do you see at quarterback, Brennan or Johnson? Worried about Brennan's health. Take this right, wrong, or indifferent, but there has been a lot of talk, and I saw him this weekend, by the way, TJ Finley. There has been a lot of talk this weekend about TJ Finley turning a lot of heads just during this off season. I did see him this weekend. He looks fantastic. He definitely looks like he's trimming down a lot of weight. He just looked good. He looked good. I mean, considering what he looked like in high school, Tommy Moffitt has done some really good work with TJ Finley. I know that Ed Orgeron is continuously talking about, if it were a game today, Miles Brennan would, he'd be good to go. Well, I don't really look. I hope that Miles Brennan has a lot of success. If he's your starter next season, I hope that he has a lot of success. The problem and the worry for me about Miles Brennan, and will continue to be for Miles Brennan as we continue to see this, and as he continues his college career, whether it be at LSU or wherever, is can he stay healthy? And if he can't stay healthy, then you're taking reps away from Max Johnson and TJ Finley. That is my biggest concern. And I don't, a lot of people say, you're going to split the reps up anyway. reps mean something. Practice reps mean something. Game reps mean something. So we'll have to wait and see. But it's kind of like the Terrace Marshall thing a little bit too, to finish this from what Robert said. This is a little bit about the Terrace Marshall thing too. Terrace Marshall was hurt for 2 seasons, went back-to-back years where he had injury issues, and then he came into last season. He played, 7 or 8 games, and he didn't have injuries. I mean, yes, it was a shortened season, but he played a season without getting injured. Miles Brennan has to do that. I really don't care if Miles throws for 800 yards in 2 games. That means nothing to me. Now, if you get wins, yes. But, I mean, you have 2 freshmen that have more. Think about this. 2 true freshmen had more wins. 2 had more wins at LSU as starters, 2 true freshmen, than Miles Brennan's had in his career. Something to be said about that. Blake Schilling says, ask Blake, any more news on the opener being in Las Vegas? I'm shopping for plane tickets. No, but I did hear, and Scott Woolward talked about this this past week with Jacques Doucette, which was a fantastic interview. He said that it looks like they're trying to get a game in Las Vegas, but right now UCLA is telling them that game looks like it's going to be played in California, and in the Rose Bowl, which good. Okay. We'll get a couple more of these. We got to get to Mr. Jalen Collins, but I got to hit him up, make sure that he's on his way. We were supposed to have Mr. Jalen Collins on last week. He said some stuff came up, and we couldn't have him on. So we'll see if he comes on with us tonight. Let me see. Let me just message right here. Ready to go when you are, brother. All right. Let's see. Justin says, ask Blake, do you see Brian Thomas? We already hit that question, though, Justin. Yeah, we already hit that question. Blaine says, when basketball team plays with defensive effort, they are very dangerous. Yeah, they're very, very dangerous. Colin says, if Brennan is healthy, don't be surprised if he's the starter. I'm not saying that he won't be the starter, but it gives me a lot of anxiety, not real anxiety. Like I'm not just, I'm not having supreme anxiety. But if Miles Brennan, we have to see a season with him being healthy. We just have to. All right, let's get to a couple more questions, and we're going to get to Mr. Jalen Collins, former LSU DB Jalen Collins. So, all right, Bear Granger says, ask Blake, do we know how many fans will be able to go to baseball games? No, I think it's around 2,500. Around 2,500. Last one, Stephen Miller says, I know Blake and I have discussed this in detail, but Brennan Finley will both look much better in practice than Johnson. However, Johnson just makes things happen in the game. Yeah, and like I just mentioned, I saw TJ this weekend. He looks fantastic. Look, we'll ask Jalen Collins this. What did Tommy Moffitt do for you when you were in college? Man, the kid's looking great. He's looking fantastic. All right, let's get over to Mr. Jalen Collins. Before we do that, we got to get over to our good friend, Mr. John Patton over at Area Home Lending. Guys, if you're thinking about buying a new home, saving money on that mortgage that you have now, or even doing that cash out refi, the timing has never been better. Get in touch with Mr. John Patton from Area Home Lending today, and if you mention this show, he will send his team out for a free appraisal. Give him a call today at 225-663-2500. That's 225-663-2500. And tell him Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you by. And for the number one real estate team on the North Shore, go to your home team. Go to team.kw.com. That's team.kw.com. And you can call one of the great, I would say call one of the great real estate agents today, but it's colder than a son of a gun out there. So give them a couple days. Call them at 985-467-7355. That's 985-467-7355. And tell them Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by. Okay, we are joined by former LSU DB, second-round pick, Mr. Jalen Collins, one of our good friends of the show. Jalen, what's going on, my man? Uh-oh. Jalen, we don't have you. Your mic is a little out. Let's see. No, we don't have you now. Let's see. We'll figure out the technical difficulties. As we figure out some of the technical difficulties, Jalen, if you have some AirPods, you might have to get off the stream, put them in, and then join the stream again. Okay. So just put the AirPods in. We'll join you. All right, we're going to join Mr. Jalen Collins in just a second. Let's do this. If you have a question for Jalen, hit us with the hashtag #AskJalen, and we'll join him back on the show. We were not able to hear him, and let me know if you guys could, because I couldn't. Mark says the word is Brennan is huge now with muscles. Look, I'm going to have to see that. I'm going to have to look, Mark. I'm not saying you're wrong. Okay. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm just going to have to see that, man. Brandon says, Ask Blake, which LSU freshman are you interested in seeing play next football season? It's a fantastic question, man. It's a fantastic question. Maybe Sage Ryan, Derek Davis, Mason Smith. Really looking forward to seeing Mason Smith. All right, let's get to over Mr. Jalen Collins. Jalen, can you hear us, my man?
Blake, I can hear you. You can hear me?
Awesome, man. Awesome. We got you. We got you. All good. See, we have a lot of people who are pumped up. Blaine Smith says pumped up about Jalen Collins.
I love it.
You know, everybody, all the LSU fans are glad that you're here, my friend.
I love it. I love my LSU faithful, man. Love that purple and gold. Appreciate y'all.
Absolutely. Jalen, look, I've had a lot of people that asked me to bring you on the show, and I saw one of your videos this past week, and a lot of LSU fans had a lot of questions. And look, I'm going to give you the floor, just because it's something that's interesting to me. I was never in that locker room.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Coach Les Miles, when you're going into the draft, had some very interesting things to say when you told him that. Can you kind of tell the fans what happened there through your eyes and what the facts were? Because it wasn't just you, Jalen. To give a little preface, other guys like Anthony the Freak Johnson, Ricky Jean Francois, who we know well, came out and said the same. So bring us through that when you told Les Miles about you going into the NFL draft.
Okay, so after I finished up my last game, the Music City Bowl in 14, was talking with a few of the teammates, Quan and Daniil, because we came out the same year. And, just, wanted to talk to Coach Miles and see what he thought and, ultimately made a decision myself. But when I reached out to him and texted him and let him know that I had talked to my family, we made the decision, and, this was what I was going to do. I guess his response really wasn't what I thought it would be. And it kind of shocked me. And it's still, to this day, kind of like, doesn't really sit well with me because that's, my coach, and, I went to school, played for him, and, he went out of his way to give me an opportunity. But, in that situation, you definitely hope for your head coach to support you.
Jalen, and that's very interesting. And I saw the text, and it was, look, I've met Les a couple of times, like Brandon Taylor and Jaron, who I played, football with, and he would come to the school, and he was always just so quirky in how he said things. And in the text, he said, this is going to be costly. Like, costly to who? I mean, that's the question that I have, because there's two lenses that I could see it through. Costly in the sense of like, hey, man, you're a great player. We love you. We want you on our team. But it kind of came off that he was saying, hey, man, this is going to be costly for you. Is that how you saw that?
I guess initially I was kind of confused because like you said, I wasn't really sure what he meant. And, I wouldn't, initially think that he'd go out of his way to, I guess, kind of hurt one of his former players. But, on our podcast, me and a buddy of mine, Darren Bates, played for Auburn.
Right.
I kind of told the story, for the first time, actually, to the public, because, it's, not really everybody's business. But so, I mean, at the time, I didn't think that. But, as things progressed and as the situation went on, I don't want to say that he went out of his way to do that. But in a way, it seems like that's what happened because I just don't see why a school would go out of their way to put out a negative article about, one of their former players when the situation wasn't, like that.
I got to get to this because Devin Snow from Hold the Mayo says, Jalen, did you eat your red beans today? If not, you're punished. Hashtag ask Jalen. That's why I wasn't giggling at you. I saw the comment. I couldn't really help myself, right? So Devin Snow said that. Did you eat your red beans today, though, Jalen?
No, I did not have my red beans today, Devin. Only reason is this winter storm has.
It's 9 degrees outside. That's why. Tell them why.
We got about 5 inches out here in Mississippi, and that is not normal.
And you're at Olive Branch, so you're back in Mississippi, Jalen?
Yeah, through all the quarantine and stuff. I was with the XFL last year, and that shut down, so I've been here since.
Gotcha. I'm going to ask you a couple questions about that in just a second. Jalen, we have a couple questions in here for you. Mm-hmm. Barrett Granger says, hashtag ask Jalen, what's your favorite memory as a Tiger?
That's kind of tough. I've got, some great memories that I have, my freshman year going to the national championship. I will say we shouldn't have been playing Alabama. I don't care what anybody says.
Preach.
The BCS, how they did it back then, that was messed up. But I mean, there's literally so many memories. Winning that last home game. I mean, our last regular season game, my last year, catching that interception to close the game out. I mean, playing that Ole Miss game when they were ranked, I think, number 3, and we beat them from the field. That was, unbelievable like no other. I mean, there's just so many memories. It's hard to beat.
Yeah, and sometimes, Jalen, there's, like you mentioned, when you have so many memories, to pick out the one, it's always tough. This was actually my question, but Chase asked it inside the chat. He says, ask Jalen, who is the best wide receiver that you ever faced off against, either LSU or in the NFL?
I guess I'll do both. Well, I was at school. I think the best receiver that I played, I would have to give it to Amari Cooper when we played them my last year at home, Bama. He was a good receiver. We had a good game against them. It went down to the wire. They ended up winning, but definitely a great receiver right there. And then in the league, I played against so many guys, but I still have to say Julio Jones. I saw him more than I saw anybody. Practice.
Right.
So definitely Julio. It's hard to beat, and those are 2 Alabama guys for sure.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask you about Julio. When you have transcendent players, Jalen, is there just something different about those guys, or is it the work that they put in that you've seen, whether it be LSU or the NFL, that just makes them different? Is it the work ethic, or they just maybe a little bit of both?
They definitely get a different kind of receiver over there. And I know being in the SEC, they don't cut any corners, and they definitely don't slack off on the work that they need to put in. And definitely being with Julio, I got to see, his work ethic firsthand, every day for, 2 years. So, those guys are definitely, doing what it takes, to be great. And they're, they have all the skills, but they definitely put the work in.
Jalen, looking at LSU this season, as we're a huge LSU podcast, a lot of times, and then look, I've never played DB. I got too many rolls on my belly to ever have played DB. Okay, I'll be the first to admit it. But it looked like when they were even in man-to-man coverage, there was a lot of confusion. Mm-hmm. As a guy that's played that position a lot and faced off against guys like Julio and Amari Cooper, is there something that you saw specifically that you were like, man, this is just out of hand? What did you see through your lens from the DB room from LSU last year?
I guess I would say for me, I just felt like a lot of those guys, a lot of those guys just didn't have a lot of experience. And then it being the type of year that it was with, Corona going around and having to switch up how they train, and also not having the same amount of time to get all those reps, like you said before, and, having guys opt out and just not being able to learn from guys that were, upperclassmen and had been in those, game situations and had all those experience. It was just tough, and they had to kind of learn on the fly. as to where, you don't really get put out there until you're ready or the coach feels like you're ready. And this year they were just, they didn't really have an option.
Right. And look, I've always said this, even, playing at Southeastern and playing in high school, it doesn't really matter. The spring to me, Jalen, the reps are always having reps is always a big thing. The more that you can take reps, the more you'll get better. And I feel that when this team gets more reps and they have more talent like Derek Stingley Jr., Elias Ricks that are all coming back, that they'll be able to be better. What do you see from LSU? Now, they kind of went out of their comfort zone a little bit and hired Durante Jones from the Minnesota Vikings. Not on a lot of people's radar, but a lot of people like the energy that he's bringing into that building. What do you think this defense will look like next year for LSU?
I did like the hire. I
did too.
Something different. Definitely for those guys, it's going to bring a new type of energy, like you said. But building off of last year, I feel like those guys definitely have what it takes. They just didn't have, the number of reps. And I definitely seen, towards the end of the year, you've seen it too. Those guys making plays out there, catching pick six, right. And playing the type of ball that LSU DBs play. And I'm definitely excited to see what those guys are going to come out, because coming off a national championship and then having a year like that, like I'm sure that is, in the back of those guys' heads, like, hey, they think we're, scrubs out here, and I know that is not the case. So I'm definitely excited to see that.
It's something that I've always wondered about DBs, and I've talked to a couple of them, especially ones that have come from LSU, and I want your perspective on this, Jalen. When you went into the NFL, was there ever I don't want to say persona or like an aura around you because you were a DB at LSU, but it is LSU DBU when you have all these guys that go into the draft? Did guys know that when you got into the league, like, hey, man, LSU's always producing these DBs. I'm going to show this guy that I'm really talented as a wide receiver. Did people always look at you as an LSU DB, or did they always kind of want to look at you as the individual and attack you that way?
Definitely coming from LSU DBU, you definitely got a target on your back, and that's just a prestige that you got to carry around with yourself.
Right.
The standard of what it is and what it's been. So it's always talk, this and that, being in the locker room with Florida guys or other SEC guys or guys that actually never played SEC team or against LSU. They want to come at you, but it is what it is. We do what we do.
Devin Snow, like John, says, Jalen, do you ever see yourself getting on The Bachelor?
Nah, I don't think I could. It would be cool. I ain't gonna lie to you, having 30 plus women to date at the same time. But at the same time,
and not to really interrupt you, Jalen, but not just good looking women, like dime pieces, really good looking women.
Definitely. But nah, I don't. It's not for me, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. The show is definitely watch for sure.
Jalen, we were talking about the persona of LSU and being DBU, which what I would assume led to a lot of trash talk on and off the field. Yep. Who's the best trash talker that you ever went against?
And that's tough because I guess a lot of guys, I guess in the midst of a game, in a heated game, didn't really talk, like Amari Cooper and Julio. I guess like in between plays, when we're lined up and stuff like that, those guys don't really say anything. Maybe, Julio would, chirp every now and then in between plays just because we're teammates. But I would say probably the guy that I remember being the biggest talker is definitely Hopkins, DeAndre Hopkins. Played him preseason game. And I was a rookie, so it was the last preseason game. And I definitely remember him talking a mouthful. And then I guess coming up behind him would probably be Kelvin Benjamin.
Really?
Trained together in Orlando, so there was a little, history there. But those two guys for sure.
Jalen, is there ever a bigger roast on air than when Booger McFarland said that Kelvin Benjamin is a Popeye's biscuit away from being a tight end?
No, that was a good one though, because he was really heavy. I remember seeing him that offseason, and I was like, KB, you trying to change positions, bro? Like, what's going on? And I mean, he ended up getting the weight down, but he was, I don't know what his offseason was looking like, but he was doing the wrong things.
I have never in my life heard of something like that on during a game. I lost it. Jalen Commons, former LSU DB, former NFL DB, is our guest. We'll get a couple more questions, and Jalen, I know we'll let everybody know where they can follow you and everything that you're doing in just a second. Is there a guy that let me ask this question first.
Mm-hmm.
Drew Brees looks like he might retire. And look, being in the same division with him, I'm sure that you went up against him. Is there something that you just always remember? Now, I'll remember Drew Brees for the accuracy, being a shorter guy, always being deadly accurate. For you, is there something as if Drew Brees hangs this up that you're just like, man, he put this in a place that I have no idea how to cover this? What was your first thoughts of Drew Brees, not when you were on that field with him?
I mean, I definitely had, big respect for Drew Brees, seeing him all the years before I got into the league. And I met him at LSU prior to me getting drafted. But I guess playing against them, I mean, I definitely just remember, he's a guy that you can't really count out. We may have been beating him in certain games, but he's always going go the extra mile and try to fight to win those games, and do anything he can to help his team out. And, I mean, he definitely made some throws, but I definitely got my blows in too, caught a pick.
Right.
Them.
That was the question I was going to ask before, and Snow brought this up. He said you picked off Tom, Cam, and Drew. My question was going to be, who was the quarterback that you loved intercepting the most when you were in the NFL?
I mean, I don't know about loved intercepting the most. I would just say intercepting them, period. Like getting them like, oh, I got him. No, definitely Cam was the first one that I picked off, and then definitely picking off Drew Brees just because I had watched him for so many years, leading up to then.
I'm gonna if I were you, and I'm not, but seeing what Tom Brady's doing right now, at 43, I'd be like, oh, the GOAT. Yeah, remember that time I picked him off? No one would be able to tell me nothing. You're a better man than me. That's all I'm going to say.
Right.
Last question. We'll get you out of here, Jalen. We'll let everybody know where they can follow you. Mike S on YouTube says, "Ask Jalen, is there any coaching in your future that you would see?"
I would definitely say so. I don't know how soon. But it's definitely in my future, being, I guess, a player's coach, what I'm saying, helping out guys in the locker room and, just younger guys or even guys in high school around here. I mean, I do anything I can to help guys out. And, coaching is definitely something that I enjoy, whether it be, little techniques or scheme or whatever. I definitely enjoy that.
Jalen, you've been fantastic, my man. Stay warm, okay? Yep. Don't go out there in the snow. Don't be like Devin Snow. Don't go out there, okay? Don't do it. It's just too damn cold out there.
No, yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on. Tell everybody where they can follow you and everything that you're doing.
I'm on Twitter, as you can see, jcar_11. Instagram, jcar_32. Got my podcast with Darren Bates, The Raw Room. We're streaming on all platforms, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever you want. Just check my bio. The link's in there, and, just tap in with us.
Jalen, thank you so much, my friend. We'll have to bring you back on again, and thank you for joining Are You Serious Sports.
Thank you, Blake, for sure.
All right, that's Mr. Jalen Collins. That was awesome. And he says negative on time. Yeah, I mean, but still, I mean, when you intercept those kind of guys, I mean, it's always fantastic. Always, Cam and Drew. Yeah, that's right. I mean, look, it don't matter who. Hey, remember that time I picked off Drew? Remember that time I picked off Cam? I would always love it. Tyler Cormier says, thanks, Jalen. This was awesome, Blake. Loving having all these former players on. Keep bringing them on. Yeah, we'll keep doing it. And I thought it was interesting what Jalen said there in the beginning. Look, when he provided the proof on what Les said, and it's interesting to see through a player's eyes. And look, you guys have to go see that video. It's like, look, I reached out to Coach. He didn't say anything to me after. And when I told him, look, I'm not coming back, Something was released, and you guys have to go listen to it. It's absolutely crazy just to see what this kid had to go through. Blake Quibido says, great guest. Yeah, I love Jalen, man. He's always been a good friend of the show, and he's just a great all-around guy. All right, let's get to our last sponsor, and then we'll continue to talk, and we'll do some Ask Blake before we get out of here. But, guys, you got to go see our good friends over at the Drake Law Firm. Personal injury, criminal defense, real estate, and successions. There's absolutely nothing that they can't do for you. They are our law team and our law firm at AYS. Go see them in downtown Ponchatoula today. That's in downtown Ponchatoula, and just give them a call. Also, Mr. Michael Bazile, our financial advisor, 504-343-1576. That's 504-343-1576. And tell them your good friend, Mr. Blake Graffito, sent you on by. If you're just joining the show, we are being pushing out our YouTube channel. So everybody after the show, do us a favor, go over to RU Serious Sports and subscribe and hit that notification bell. We will be doing another giveaway, and for all the subscribers. So all the subscribers are up to it. Continue to do it. Lamar Williams says, can you get Glenn Dorsey on? I'll definitely try. It won't be for a lack of trying. I'll tell you that much. It will never be for a lack of trying. Never be for a lack of trying. Nicholas says, bring on Joey B. Man, listen, I will message him. I will ask him. I'll do everything I can to have Joe Burrow on the podcast. Trust me, I want Joe Burrow on the podcast more than y'all do. Trust me, believe that. Well, I was going to do this, and I know that we talked about this a lot. I know a lot of people are looking forward to the offense for LSU this upcoming season. I'm really looking forward to the defense. I really want to see what this defense can do. Look, LSU has never had put out a defense like they did last season in reference to statistics, giving up yards, giving up points, giving up touchdowns, giving up field goals. They have been, that last year was statistically the absolute dead worst. As I've continued, now you guys know this, and especially those who have listened to the podcast for a while, I love breaking down the film during the offseason, and something I'm seeing over and over again was just how slow this team can be at times. They got to get a lot faster, and they got it just the simple stuff. And we just asked Jalen there in reference to, hey, man, what's the simple fix in references being not communicating, being out of spot, not knowing what to do in man-to-man coverage? Reps. And hopefully they'll be able to get into the spring. Matt Daigle says, any way we can get Ben Simmons on here one day? I would really like to talk to Ben Simmons and ask him what really went behind the scenes at LSU. I mean, I know some things, and I would really like to ask him some questions. Tyler Cormier says, ask Blake, I heard Hester say this morning that Brennan looked way bigger. All four quarterbacks were getting every rep. Guys, I get it. I get it. And I'm not 100% certain in not saying anything negative about Hester or anything like that. But the God's honest truth, the 100% God's honest truth is that Ed Orgeron told you this a year ago, that man and that kid was 220 pounds, and that kid was 15 pounds away from being 220. I got to see it. And here's another thing that's very interesting to me. Miles Galligan, he's angry. What's that about? I don't know. But I want to see it. He needs to put on weight. And if he's been, because there's so many different things going on out there, if he's ready to go, then how long has he been ready to go? And how much weight has this kid been able to put on? Because he just said, Ed Orgeron just said last week that Miles Brennan is getting to that point where getting to the point is the deal. So is he putting on good weight or is he putting on bad weight? That would be the biggest question that I have. Lamar says, also Simone Augustus. The ladies need the love too. I like that. I like Simone Augustus. You know what? I'm going to write some of these down. Let's see if we can bring them on. Hold on. I'm going to write these down. Hold on. Let's see. All right. People, Arden Key, Ben Simmons. I'm going to write these down. Because I'll forget them. Ben Simmons. I don't think we can get Ben Simmons. He don't like people from LSU. Jordan Wilkinson says, keep it up, Blake. Love the show. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. Blake Schilling said, bring on Arden Key. We'll bring on Arden Key. Charlie Viator says, just my opinion, I think Max is the best quarterback we have. I could see that. I can see how a lot of people can think that. I mean, look, he's very talented. He's got a lot of escapability. And a lot of people criticize Ed Orgeron for the in-practice stuff. But look, I think TJ's is a good kid too. Let's see, Big Baby Davis. We're getting this. David says Alex Lang. Yeah, we can try to bring on Alex Lang. He's actually really good friends with Zach Pearson, who comes on our show every Thursdays. Matt says Shaq. Okay, well, I got some work to do. I got some serious work to do. Arden Key, Blake Schilling says Arden Key is fixing credit now. I don't see how that could be a problem. Hey, we'll do it. Y'all keep giving them to me. I'll just make the list and we'll keep going down. I'm going to dig into this Miles Brennan thing. Guys, I'm serious. I don't have any faith in it. Like, legitimately have zero faith in it. Not that I don't have any faith in Miles Brennan. That's not what I'm saying. I just don't know if I have the faith. I have to see it. Well, this is going to be the 5th year. Correct? Yes, this is going to be the 5th year. He's been hurt every single season. Like, at some point, let's go. Alex Bregman. Okay. I'll write that one down. Alex Bregman. Y'all keep giving me guys y'all want on the show. I'll keep writing them down. That's 2 for Alex Bregman. 2. Aaron Nola. Okay. Guys, y'all think I'm just made of I'm gonna have to be pulling out a whole bunch of strings. Kramer Robinson. Okay. I like the Kramer one. I'm writing them all down. Jordan says Joey B. Trust me, I'm doing it. I would do everything I can to get all right, look. Joey B. All right. I'll reach out to his people. They might make me pay him. They might make me pay Joey B. It don't matter. It's Joey B. Some LSU fans would give a kidney for that kid. Nick says, ask Blake, what are you most excited about to see on the offensive side of the ball? I hope we go back to pre-snap adjustments. Anybody that says that they're not interested to see how this quarterback situation takes place, they're out there either lying or they don't know what they're talking about or they have a preconceived notion of who's going to start. I want to see this offensive line. I want to see what this offensive line can do. Everybody's just throwing out names. Kevin Falk. Brian, we can't bring on Kevin Falk while he's a coach at LSU because of contractual reasons. Those same people who will bitch and moan about contractual stuff are the same people who are being a little shady right now. They know what I'm talking about because I know a couple of you listen and watch the show. So I would like to bring on Kevin Falk, but we won't be able to do that. Devin White. Devin White would be awesome. I got some serious work to do. Chris says, stay warm, Blake. Take swigs of Crown and ginger ale. We'll do that. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I like Clyde Edwards. Ryan Shemp. We can have Ryan Shemp on. No, Ryan will. Let's have Ryan on. Ryan Shemp. Local North Shore kid. All right, a couple more questions and we'll get out of here. Stefan on Facebook Live says, to me, Brennan is too feeble and not a natural leader. I like the kid as a person, but I can't see myself in a foxhole with him. Maybe so. Wade McBride says, Fulton. Yeah, I like your reasoning too. All right, guys, we're going to get on out of here. We're going to try to be on tomorrow. Everybody, do us a favor. Right now as we're getting off the show. If you've not subscribed to our YouTube channel, go over to YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Get everybody in your house to go subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll be doing a giveaway here soon. Everybody is going to be able to be a part of the giveaway or be a part of, meaning you're going to be able to, whatever we're giving away, you're going to be able to get that, not just new people. So we'll go from there. Ryan Thibodeau, Ryan Perlew. Okay, we'll see. bring any 2020 champion. Well, we did, Gino. We did just bring on. Braden Fajoko a couple weeks ago. Tyler says, got to have someone big for you to get that 1,000 subscribers. Let's get it. Yeah, we'll do that. All right, guys. My name is Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports. Go subscribe to that YouTube channel, and we will see you again soon. Y'all have a good night. Peace out.